It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave in the 702 coming at you for another Monday night episode of The Shoe Shine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. I thought you'd be a little bit more smiles considering the Philadelphia Eagles are 4-0, but so are my Niners. Bang, bang, Drew. ¿Qué pasa, homie? What's going on, Drew?
Chilling.
I mean, are you happy the Eagles are 4-0, man? You just barely got that win in overtime. That was pretty exciting, actually. Might have been even more exciting than that pay-per-view fight a lot of us paid $89.99 for.
Well, I'll get into that Wednesday.
All right, that's right. I want to remind everybody, thank you so much for everyone that hung out with me, Dave, from the 702 now. On Wednesday, some of you guys did get to catch me. I apologize for not bringing a gimbal over to the MGM Grand, but I wanted to be at the media event because everybody knows that going and standing in the hot sun to watch the Canelo weigh-ins I'd rather be at the media press day. And I thought I'd get some fabulous insight, and it just took so much energy out of me that I was not able to get back on track with Drew to do our football show. But we're going to go back on this Wednesday and go back to our football show, highlighting week 4 and going over the show. Drew, I appreciate everybody that's in the room right now joining us. Shout out to everybody. I'm going to have a Corona. Man, what a weekend, huh, Drew? For many of us, you might feel a little bit, slighted that you paid for such a non-eventful fight, but Canelo Alvarez, man, he seemed back 100%. Not the Canelo that we saw fight John Ryder in Guadalajara in his homecoming. Not at all the guy we saw fight John Ryder. And I think it has something to do with the beautiful, beautiful high-altitude Lake Tahoe. Guys, as a child, I've been going to Lake Tahoe. I'm from Northern California. I've been going to Lake Tahoe my whole life. Even with my wife and her grandparents, we took them for 20 years plus to go up there and gamble. And I think Canelo Alvarez is just shy of buying some really nice lakefront property. And why not? He's one of the richest athletes in the world, right? Because I think it revitalized him. I'm going to be real with you, Drew. There was some explosiveness in Canelo Alvarez that we have not seen in a very long time. And training at that 6,500 feet elevation, I know that has something to do with it. But shout out to everybody joining us in the room, Drew. We'll get to that. I want to get your thoughts on this cruiserweight division because Saturday I was so excited to watch the Canelo fight. I had to get in some early boxing on DAZN. Guys, the Samoan cruiserweight champion from Australia is must-watch TV. When he beat Brady's, the former champ, Drew, I thought, okay, that was close, but there's something special about this former Olympian. He's a lot of fun to watch, man. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did. I thought he beat Brady's 8-4, in my opinion. But I think he's demonstrating a lot more now that he has more of his arsenal. But the opponent could have been might have been subpar a little bit. So we'll only see when he faces another top opposition.
That's what you're looking into. So I got a little bit of a clip of some of this. I think it's really interesting and fun to watch. This is off Twitter. Of course, if I play too much of it, we might get an issue. But I love how explosive he is and how he puts his punches together. And he's just a great boxer puncher. And I love watching boxer punchers. And I'm heavily invested, guys, because this Saturday night, I'm going back out to the Cosmopolitan to watch this DAZN card. Zurdo Ramirez, the former 168-pound champion. Of course, Canelo owns that division now. Could not make it weight at light heavyweight, Drew, to fight your guy from Philadelphia. That fight fell apart. Gabe Rosado, that shit fell apart because he was fucking too fat. And now he's going to campaign at 190 pounds, which is also kind of the bullshit weight class Jake Paul made up for himself. But I guess it's cruiserweight, right? And Joe Smith, the former 168-pound champion himself, or was he the light heavyweight champion? I forget. He was the light heavyweight champion.
He was former light heavyweight champion. I think this is a catch rate fight.
190 pounds?
Unless you count this as bridgerweight.
Right, which I don't think it even exists. That didn't catch on. But listen, if either of these guys have breakout performances, with Zurdo Ramirez being at DAZN, there is no reason to believe that he can't get himself in a position quickly to have a title fight at cruiserweight. If either of these guys do, right, Drew?
Yeah, but the only issue is how committed is Zurdo, because Zurdo, all he had to do was make 175 pounds to fight someone that's coming up for 160, and he couldn't even do that.
He looked so bad. You guys, let me know how you guys thought of his performance. It was so uncompetitive when he got in the ring with Dimitri Bivol, the guy that handed Canelo his most recent loss. It was a one-sided, dominating performance. I don't even know who did worse. He just didn't show up to fight, much like we saw this weekend in the main event. But I'm curious. I think I'm going to have a great time. I'm going with our friends Fonzie and Carol that live here in Las Vegas. The Cosmopolitan's always a great place, and I'm hoping to hang out and see our boy from Thompson Boxing, who's I think will be calling the fight. Our guy that does Thompson Boxing, who's going to be there, man? Everyone's going to be there. I'm totally stoked about that. But we'll cover that at the end of this show. Let's get right into the pay-per-view, guys. Elijah Garcia, the 160-pound prospect, future contender in one of the weakest divisions there is, middleweight division, Drew. He fought Resendiz, and I was there at the media day, and Resendiz was the first one to get up and work out. He didn't look like no slouch, and I commented on this, that this guy's coming to fight from Mexico. I think he's been working with Manny Robles, and he definitely came to fight. This was one of the more exciting fights of the actual pay-per-view, if not one of the best, aside from the Ugas and Mario Barrios. Guys, let me know what you guys think about this young kid, Elijah Garcia. He's been on with D-Style, I believe, on D-Style Boxing. It seems like the kid got his head on his shoulder just right, Drew, and his performance, the type of performance, he's that throwback fighter, not afraid to fight in the phone booth, but has some decent ring IQ and has a lot of pop. These are the kind of fighters that I like and enjoy watching. What about you?
Well, he probably has a lot of problems because this is a weak-ass division and everything. But tell you the truth, most of the, all the titleists are Eastern European now. Nobody's ever heard of them. So he's in he can win a title in it, but, when it comes to making money in it, I'm not sure. That's the issue. I don't know how PBC is trying to build him up and everything. Even after if he wins a title and everything, you're in a division that's weak and draws no money now because really nobody in it except for Janabek.
Yeah, I've already been hearing today people calling for a fight against Janabek. But what about big Jermall Charlo, that happens to be the WBC fucking champion, and right there at PBC? When are we going to start having that conversation? We saw him struggle the last time he fought nearly 2 years ago against a Mexican fighter in Montiel. And I don't think that guy Montiel is anywhere on the level of this young fighter, Elijah Garcia.
I really think the ideal matchup for him will be Carlos Adonis.
That's actually a very, very good test. Is Carlos Adames at the zone?
I would think he's at the zone, but I think other than Jamal Charlo or Janabek, it's Carlos Adonis.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure, but I think after this fight that Jamal Charlo is rumored to be having with someone moving up from 154, Jose Benavidez Jr. and everything. Is he campaigning at 168 or is it 160 to fight? So,
yeah, you brought up a really good point. I just read that Jose Ramirez will be on the fight with his baby brother David Benavidez, who will be the main event November the 25th. That's like the weekend. That's Thanksgiving weekend. And I was freaking excited, Drew, because I thought this fight was going to be in Las Vegas again, where David Benavidez did very well in this pay-per-view with Caleb Plant. Now I'm hearing talks that'll be going to we had Mario Munguia on last week, and it'll be going to San Antonio. San Antonio becoming a new hotbed. All of Texas is a hotbed for boxing, but not only is San Antonio getting that fight reportedly, but the big announcement today that Ryan Garcia will be making his return just a week after that fight in San Antonio, Texas himself.
And we waited all this time just to have that type of announcement, and it's not really fight anybody big. I'm like, yo, this is the Golden Boy Protection Program.
Whoa! I'm going to argue with that later because I want to get to this pay-per-view, but you have not watched Oscar Duarte fight. Somebody call me. The phone lines are open, 702-710-3627. Have you been keeping your eye on Oscar Duarte? This guy, this morning when I saw that they picked Oscar Duarte, Drew, yes, I know he fights at 135, but then Ryan was fighting at 136 in his last fight. They might have made a really big mistake, and this might be a calculated move by Oscar. Not the witness protection, but let's bust them up again. Let's have them get busted up again so I can sell and get rid of these damaged goods. Because remember, they're like in litigation constantly, these two. I wouldn't be surprised if Oscar wants him to get knocked the fuck out. Go watch Oscar Duarte's past fights, and you'll see that this kid can crack just as hard as Oscar, and not Oscar, Ryan. But Drew, Ryan's a one-trick pony. He's really just a one-trick pony.
Here's the thing, man. I think if you're going to try to cash out Ryan Garcia, if you're going to try to make your money off Ryan Garcia or off one of you guys, why just have a great fight? William Zepeda versus Ryan Garcia.
Oh my God! Well,
tell you the truth, what the fuck you got to lose? You're not really making any money. You haven't been making money for the shit shows that you bring on because, tell you the truth, you are in the same boat as Matchroom because you had to be changing main events. You had to be changing fights because somebody had to pull out. People had to pull out. It's just fucking...
Well, who's to know? Who's to know if they didn't offer Zepeda a fight and he said, you know what, I'm sitting right here. I'm not moving up for Ryan. 135 pounds. I got a good chance at getting a title opportunity here, and I'm not going to move up for Ryan Garcia. Who knows? Who knows? But I want to talk about that later. Let's stay on topic on this pay-per-view. Guys, remember, you guys can call in, chime in, 702-710-3627. Elijah Garcia is on a fast track. Very fast track. This guy became a professional fighter in his teen years. He's already, I believe, a father of two. He's a straight up Christian, a good Christian. He is on a fast track in the weakest division. And I think that, you know what, Drew? I'm pretty sure that Jamal is going to be fighting at 168 and get accommodated to the weight because that PBC deal with Canelo, he's looking for two further opponents. And you just fought this one, fight the next one, and then maybe the cash out against David Benavidez and say la vie. He won't stick around to fight David Morrell. And why would he? And that's not to say Bubo Andrade doesn't have a chance, because as we get closer to November 25th, we'll do a serious analysis because I think Boo Boo Andrade's got a good chance. I think he's got. This is more of a 50-50 fight than what we saw this week.
I really think Boo Boo can beat David Benavidez, and I think this is a raw style matchup that people are thinking. This is Caleb Plant gave him problems. No pop in his punches. No pop in his punches. If he had popped, it would have been a lot more problems. And Boo Boo has pop in his punches. There's going to be a lot more problems for Benavidez. So people need to really pay attention to this fight and stop thinking it's going to be an easy fight for Benavidez. And the thing about it is, man, it's just that, like, Saturday. I really be honest with you guys when it comes to Saturday night. I think this card had potential to be great, a great show, but this show, by someone that's showing up, corruption, defiled this show and made it a waste of fucking money and everything. And I'm fucking disgusted with how this show turned out. Like, I just don't get how we continue to have people that never been in a fucking boxing ring judge fights and makes like fucking corruption mistakes after mistakes and don't know and fail the eye test every fucking time. And the evidence is there. The evidence is there, and these sanctioning bodies and these athletic commissions still choose not to do anything. And I repeat, anything about this. And this is one of the main reasons why boxing is in the state as it is in right now. So, but I'll let you get to it, Dave. I know.
I'm seeing the chat, Drew. No, I appreciate your sentiment because I see the chat lighting up. We'll move on to Mario Barrios, who I think did a fantastic job, even though he was not the co-main event. A lot of people in this chat are heated, and I was particularly heated too Saturday. I know that D-Style invited me at the last minute, but to be on his show, and shout out to him, who he got 1,700 views on his show on Saturday night. I was too drunk and upset to make any sense Saturday night, or I would have joined him. I'm heavily invested in Jesus Ramos Jr., who's been a friend of the show from just being a prospect to where he is now as a contender. And I can do that because, guys, I don't write for any publications professionally. And I don't even do this professionally, as we're not even monetized on YouTube. So I could still be a fan of fighters. You know, I don't have to be entirely objective. I'm not a professional scribe. What I saw Wednesday was a very well-prepared Lubin who had a lot of confidence. And I saw, with his father, I saw Jesus looking incredibly sharp, like he did in the David Benavidez undercard, looking very, very fight ready. Okay, but what transpired in the actual fight for a co-main event, the sad part about it is that he doesn't merit the loss. And that's just the facts, right, Drew? He doesn't actually merit that loss. He didn't lose. What fight were these fucking asshole judges? And I'll say their names because none of them really, other than Patricia Jarman, are familiar to me. She came up with the score of 117-111, which is completely fucking corrupt. Obviously, she was never going to give the fight to Jesus Ramos. Let's just say that Jesus Ramos turned on the gas full throttle and went for a knockout, knockdown, finished the punishment he started early in setting up, and he wins those last 4 rounds. Well, Patricia Jarman would still not have given him the fight. He still would have lost. Likewise, 116-112 for John McKay. Had Ramos picked up 3 of those last rounds, he could have ended up in a draw. Okay, the only person that conceivably doesn't seem corrupt is this Chris Maglione. 115, 113. You can argue some of those rounds, swing rounds, I suppose. But quite honestly, Jesus Ramos outlanded him statistically in almost every fucking round. He did not lose that fight. He lost the support of the crowd. Guys, I'll give you that, and you guys can call. He deserved to be booed, as did Lubin, as the co-main event for people who spent thousands flying to Las Vegas. They don't want to see an average fight that goes to the scorecard. And maybe that was the mistake of the corner and the team of Jesus, to just presume that they were comfortably ahead. This same tactic has gone wrong for even Oscar De La Hoya when he fought Felix Trinidad in Las Vegas. When Oscar, was up 10 rounds to nothing? And then just decides to take off the 11th and 12th, and somehow Felix Trinidad is rewarded with the fight, and Oscar's handed his first loss. This is not the end of Jesus Ramos, but it does destroy the great story because, Drew, in my eyes, there's nothing better than going to the top and saying, I'm undefeated and I'm here for my title shot. It is not the end. Brian Mendoza is getting a title shot with losses on his record. Yeah.
I'm going to give you a full breakdown of this fight, and I'm going to tell you why there will be no debate Jesus Ramos got robbed. And I watched the fight twice, once with no commentary. You could not give Lubin no more than 3 rounds. And 3 rounds is being generous because the 1 round was string to me. I don't think there was a lot of 3 rounds in this fight. But I'm going to say this right now. How can you give a guy that did not throw a lot of, that punch output was not a lot, a guy that did not land double-digit punches in none but only 2 of those fucking rounds, of a 117, 111 victory, a 116 to 112 card, and a 115. No, they're all fucking corrupted, because I tell you this right now, there is no goddamn way that a guy that did not throw shit won a fight. When a guy, Jesus Ramos, was the more busier fighter, the more accurate fighter, the more better punches than Lubin, just because he pumped the brakes a little bit, as people will say. He still won 2 of those last 4 rounds.
They weren't a slam dunk in my eyes either for Lubin. I'm being generous. We give him 4. We give him 1 where Ramos was kind of feeling him out. You could see a 7-5 performance in favor of Jesus Ramos. I don't see 7-5 for Lubin, but I mean, maybe if I watch it, like you guys said, with the volume down, maybe I can conceivably come up with that score. But I thought it was a dominating performance, one where, unfortunately, not closing out the show, he was punished heavily, and he's now handed his first professional loss. But a professional loss that sets him back in a division that was ripe for him to get a title shot almost immediately, like a title shot of the winner of Tim Tszyu versus Brian Mendoza, who he already beat. Now it's back to the drawing board, and what I think potentially is going to happen, Drew, is that PBC is going to order him to fight the Towering Inferno. When we interviewed him with D-Style, he says, if I got to fight him, if I got to fight Fundora, I have no problem with it. I'm happy to do so. Now you got 2 guys coming off huge losses, almost forced to fight. And it will not go well for Jesus if he takes the same approach that he did Saturday against Fundora.
I really think, and Dave, I know you watched this fight. I know you see Lubin's trainer in the corner telling him he needs to pick it up. He's not doing shit. And I really think these athletic commissions and these section bodies need to do a process on how to have selective judges and everything. Look at their resumes and everything. What made you like the 117-111 card, and they interviewed that person again for a judge. Why did you think you gave that? Why did you think you thought he won 117-111? And based off their whole answer and everything, did she? And then asked them, did you rewatch the fight? That's the one thing that they need to get their judges to do after judging the fight. They need to be by themselves and rewatch this fight without commentary. They need to rescore it themselves to see if they felt like they fuck up or they stand by their card or not. Because now they need to do more due diligence, because this something that should not ever happen. Chicano, I'm giving you, this is an idea. You need to fucking put this on your next fucking rescore and everything. See, I get Chicano an idea for his fucking next show.
That's a great fucking shout out to Chicano. A rescore is absolutely. I would like for you to draw attention now that you live in Arizona. Shout out to everybody in Arizona. We should see a rescore of this, and we should break it down, and I'll be happy to send Drew over there for that if I can't make it. Shout out to, not a very popular opinion, but shout out to our homeboy Bruce, goes boxing, jazz, and more. Make sure that you guys follow him on YouTube as well, because he has an unpopular opinion. He says, I saw Lubin outbox Ramos. What about that, Drew? He did have a nice jab.
Tell you the truth, I don't know what fight he was watching.
Yeah, like I said,
I'm sorry,
it was
Bruce,
unpopular.
I don't know what fight you were watching, but my man, but he was dominated. I don't see that as a dominating fight for Lubin. I don't think anybody saw that as a dominating fight. Like, tell you the truth, but don't worry, Bruce. We still love you, man. You didn't come with the worst theories and everything. We had someone who scored Triple G, Canelo 3 a draw. So don't worry about it, Bruce. We forgive you.
Sin City Syndicate says the due diligence is corrupt, so there is no justice. And shout out to Sin City Syndicate, a whale of a gambler. I have to wonder, Drew, if the bookmakers and had something to do with this, because it was almost so easy to do a parlay on this whole card and predict it. I think Barrios was actually quite the upset, but I wonder if there was any influence with that, to be honest. So let me know what you guys think, man. Is this the end of Jesus Ramos? I say absolutely not. It is a major setback to have that loss, even though he doesn't merit it. He didn't deserve to have an A. This was not an A+ performance whatsoever. This is a fight that I honestly think, with the heavy investment he did into Lubin's body early, and it looked great. I'm surprised he didn't use that to set up some heavy power shots. He has a heavy power shot of a left hand that he's knocked out so many early of his opponents in his career. And I honestly think he could have inflicted damage with that left hand. And I was shocked that he didn't go for it amongst probably the biggest crowd he's ever fought in at the T-Mobile Arena. One where the crowd booed both of them. It wasn't the type of fight you want to see as a co-main.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, man. And I think everybody that, like, Jesus is a friend of the show. He's been on here a couple of times. We both interview him and everything. Like, I'll be honest. Guys, I think he's got his first loss. I think people just need to leave the kid alone for a while. Let him reflect on this. Mm-hmm. I know people are going to be dying to try to interview him and try to ask him what went wrong, but let him think, let him reflect on this. And people, the interviews are going to be there. He's going to come out and interview. I just hope people don't go in and ask his people to interview him right away after this. And I tell that to anybody that just had their first loss and everything, even if they were robbed or not. Let them reflect on it and everything. Maybe because, I tell you the truth, it makes content, but at the same time, man, they help bring the content by taking that interview and everything and giving you the time and everything. And I think people just really need to just let's leave the kid be for a while. Let them reflect on this. Let's see if they're gonna explore the rematch. Which Lubin does not want that rematch because he knows in his heart he lost. His trainer looked at him and said he lost until he got the money. Yeah, I won. and everything. And like it looked like when they were walking to the back, his trainer was still yelling at him as your dude, you got away with it with a gift and everything.
There was a gift on that. There was a gift on that David Benavidez, Caleb Plant pay-per-view, and it was with one of his stablemates. And I've already forgot the name of this young kid who also happened to be on D-Style. Guys, throw that up in the chat. The guy moved up from 130. Chris Colbert fought the Mexican-American kid that it was in David Benavidez's camp. That was a clear as fuck robbery, one that Chris Colbert wanted nothing to do with Rayo Valenzuela. That was a clear-cut robbery in my eyes as well, a straight-up gift. Now kind of like back-to-back pay-per-view gifts on the main event, to me, at least. So, no, I look forward to seeing how Jesus rebounds from this because there's been plenty of guys, including Brian Mendoza, who has some losses as a club fighter before he ever made the big stage on PBC. He's right there, back in position to fight for the WBO belt that Jermell Charlo was stripped of, and he's going to be fighting for that title against Tim Tszyu. So one loss ain't the end of y'all. Hopefully you will just learn from it. If you got that mean streak and you have that ability to finish an opponent, finish the opponent. No fucking nice guy, right? So,
yeah.
But, hey, go ahead.
And JC, Wyo didn't get robbed. He lost that. He gave that fight to Cobo. I don't know what people with that he didn't get robbed. Wyo gave that fight to Cobo.
Well, maybe in a week or two after this all settles, maybe we'll say the same shit. Maybe we'll say that that Jesus gave that fight away. But right now, the way I see it, like we talked about, he won that fight at least 8-4, or at the very least 7-5. Or 7-5. Shout out to my homegirl Mom Food. I haven't seen you in a minute. Don't forget, guys, to smash that like. It helps Drew and I trying to get that, that proverbial monetization up here on the YouTube. And if you guys want to call, I got a call right now. Let's answer this one right here from the Bay Area. 925, you're on the Shoe Shine.
You know who it is.
That's our boy Lukey Boxing from ProBox TV, NewYorkFights.com, and of course, right here on YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe to Lukey. Lukey, we were just talking about the Jesus Ramos Jr. fight. D-Star and I got a chance to talk to him before the fight. I got a chance to talk to him on Wednesday. It was really disappointing to see that, but you've been in the business for a long time. What's your takeaway from that?
Let me take a deep breath. I mean, it's a terrible fight. I think bipartisan, if you're Lubin or Jesus Ramos, if you say that was a brilliant performance by either guy, at best you're a liar, and at worst you just don't know what you're talking about. Ramos was in control for a good portion of the fight, and then he hurt Lubin, and then he stopped fighting. But at no point did this fight ever have that urgency that I want to see in a co-main event spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lubin landed 9 total punches per round.
Wow.
When you break down the math of what he's throwing. For a 12-round fight, that's just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Lubin willingly put himself on the ropes. I would have been fine with a draw, because I didn't really see a guy go out there and take the fight. I felt Jesus did enough to win it 7-5. You say it's a draw, I'm not mad at you. I had a guy tell me that they scored at 10-2 Lubin. I just don't understand that card. I feel like you're just kind of giving points. You're kind of going the opposite. You know how Paulie always talks about judges do follow the leader?
Mm-hmm.
The guys coming forward. I think that if you have a 10-2 Lubin card, you're just giving points for people moving away and calling it boxing. Because there was a lot of Lubin just not engaging, and there was a lot of Jesus Ramos following. And what sucks is, right, for Jesus, I think most people probably thought he won. I don't know what your guys' take is. But the fight was so bad, you're not going to get a rematch. Like, who on earth wants to see that fight again?
And I also don't think he's going to fall. He's not going to get an opportunity to be a co-main for a very long time until he puts on some dominating, eye-popping performances again, like he did early in his career. He fumbled. Some people here in the chat said he fumbled the bag because this was the time to shine. This was absolutely the time to shine with all eyes on you.
I'd like to talk to him because it's like he hurt Lubin, and we've seen what happens when Lubin hurts. He gets up out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And after he hurt him, he kind of checked out. And Lubin, Kevin Cunningham just yelled at Lubin. Lubin doesn't look like what he used to be. I don't know if you guys in the chat or if you guys think different, but I mean, he doesn't look like the prospect contender I used to see. He looks like a guy who's worried about getting hit on his chin.
Oh,
and that's his first thought going in. I mean, both guys, when they go in, like, this is the weird fight where Lubin wins. He's going to get an opportunity, but everyone's going to treat it like he just lost. So he was trying to say, hey, I'm not a gatekeeper. Well, he's going to keep answering those questions for his next fight because this fight did absolutely nothing to shake it off. I've only seen like guys that want to interview Erickson Lubin or people that greatly favor boxers say that they thought Lubin won. I thought that was more of like a joke comment until I realized there was a subsection of the internet that actually truly believed it. So I don't mean to disrespect people. And I'm going to be honest with you, for 4 or 5 rounds, I was checking my email. I mean, I just could not do this fight. So maybe I missed some stuff. What is it?
Any good emails?
He said if there was any good emails. I hear
you. It
you.
was better than the fight, bro. It was better than the fight because it's just like I'm sitting here and I watched the card gradually get worse and worse. We got Elijah Garcia fighting Resendez, and that was a telling fight, right? Because I believe in Elijah Garcia, but he's getting hit way too much. But it's an awesome action-packed fight. That would have been a great co-main event. We got Barrios and Ugas. They're putting it on the line. The fight should have been stopped. I don't know what Salas was thinking, but whatever. And then we get to the co-main, pretty uneventful. And then we get to the main event, and we got one fighter that showed up and another one who was calling up his bank asking, really, did I make this much money? He was just trying to leave with his faculties. Charlo did a great impersonation of Adrian Broner against Manny Pacquiao. That was about how inspired this performance was.
No, I'm going to be honest. He did it for the culture. The culture should be proud.
Oh, boy.
Listen, real talk. Like, I'll be honest. After the 7th round, it seemed like the motherfucker was in survival mode.
Oh, yeah.
And I was telling people, he went down to 7. My boy made a bet. Shout out to Classic Keys and everything that was on the last Wednesday with us. He put a bet down that Canelo would stop him in 7. Told me, yo, if I hit on this, I'm giving you $50, Drew. And we thought I was actually going to get some money off Keys, and then the motherfucker survived. I'm like, yo, this dude, like, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Oh, like, people paid $85 for this bullshit. For Jermell Charlo, I get the respect because I dared to be great and everything. You dare to be great. No,
I mean, he never once looked like himself, bro. He never once talked how he talked. All fight week, he looked intimidated. His ring walk, he looked intimidated. And after he got hit once, Drew, shoe shine.
Oh, yeah.
He checked out.
He did mentally check out.
Power, he's like, after he felt that power, he was like, bro, this dude hits hard.
Bro, I'm going to be honest. I told you this is a fucking cherry pick. Like,
well, I mean, I agree with you, Drew. This is a.
Didn't I tell everybody this dude's fucking power would not come up with him, and it didn't.
Actually, the speed didn't either, guys. The speed didn't come up.
This motherfucker was on a fucking treadmill for fucking 12 fucking rounds, and he got nailed in the 7th round. In 2 shots, took a fucking knee. Instead of fucking saying, hey, I made my over $10 million and everything, I'm going to stay down. No, the motherfucker want to get on and get a more victory because he survived. Man, I don't give a fuck anybody says. And I don't give a fuck because, it's pro boxing. But at the end of the fucking day, You fought like a fucking bitch, and you wasted everybody's fucking time and fucking money, including your fucking trainer. Even though he got paid and everything, you wasted his fucking time because he could have been training fucking Ryan Garcia to get better more. He could have been training AJ to hopefully he doesn't get knocked the fuck out by Deontay Wilder or the next motherfucker he fights. And fucking Spence not taking the Terence Crawford rematch. No, he's going to get fucked up even more.
I want to digress, guys. We jumped ahead right into everybody's heated. We definitely want to touch on everything about Canelo versus Jermell. But being that Luki and Luki still lives in the Bay Area, Bob Santos, who was recently one of the best trainers, awarded that distinction, now makes his life here in Las Vegas. And I've just started talking to his son, who I think is doing a fantastic job as one of the youngest cutmen in the sport of boxing. Luki, did they just turn around the career of the Texan in Mario Barrios now at welterweight? I mean, this was a fight that had two very impressive corners, Ismael Salas, the Cuban school, and Bob Santos straight up from the 408 of Robert Guerrero, the Ghost fame.
You know, can I just
and don't
say,
forget that those two don't like each other.
Yes, there's a bit of rivalry.
Right.
Can you touch on that too?
like,
Well, I don't know nothing, but I'll say I guess it makes me a real boxing reporter if I don't really know the circumstance, but I speak on it. That seems about commonplace nowadays. But the issue has to deal with Hector Luis Garcia and Carlos Adames and fighters of that nature who originally were with Salas, and then Santos was in the gym, and then there was a split in the gym for whatever reason, and Hector Luis Garcia and Carlos Adames and a couple other guys went with Bob Santos, and that's kind of it. And to me, the unfortunate thing was it looked like Salas. We've seen this in the past. I've touched on it. I think there is a little bit of ego at times with Salas, and I think he didn't want Bob Santos to be able to say that he stopped his fighter. So Ugas's eye was really, really in bad ways, and the fight should have been stopped, but I think they kept going. Not unlike Diego Magdaleno against Teofimo Lopez. Diego Magdaleno should have been stopped in that fight before he got really hurt, and then Diego was never the same. I think this Ugas' last fight, I'm not answering the question you asked me. I think Virgil Hunter did a great job with Barrios, and then he just had a couple of hard fights, and we live in a generation where if you take hard fights, you suck. And if you lose, oh my God, you can't be a great fighter. I think he's just a guy where he didn't get the superstar path, right? Mario Barrios didn't get to be 27-0 and he's rocking out and $1 million. He's a top tier fighter, but it's like his big fights have came on the B side against big name fighters. Learning on the job. My only issue with Mario is at times he doesn't have that power in the right hand like he does with the jab. I think that Virgil built a great foundation for Mario, and then Bob Santos knows how to communicate with Mario, working with him for his whole career. And it's like it's not like Bob is doing a better job. It's like Bob's adding on to what Virgil had already done. So it's like it's a great addition. It's like if you have a wonderful house and you put a pool in the backyard, it's just leveling it up. And I think that what we're seeing is, and I think also, I'm just talking a lot on your guys' show, is Barrios has been in a lot of hard fights, but he's never given up in those fights. He's gained experience in those fights. And through that, you see, you take hard fights, you can actually become a better fighter. So it's like he took hard fights. Yeah, he lost to Thurman. He got stopped by Tank, but those are two of the best fighters in the world. And now he gets in with Ugas, who got his face smashed, long layoff. And Mario was able to outbox him in a few months. Spence and Crawford are probably not going to be at welterweight. Barrios, top 5, top 10 welterweight. Let's make him and Cody Crowley.
I like that fight. Drew, I know you got a lot to say, but Ismael Salas is not having a good few weeks. I mean, let's not forget Joe Joyce in the rematch when they were supposed to fix all these issues with Joe Joyce, gets annihilated in even worse fashion. And then Ugas gets annihilated just the week thereafter. Not a good stretch. By the way, I'm curious if either of you guys had heard what Zalil Zhang said, that he had a mole in Las Vegas in the Ismail Salas camp telling him the entire game plan. So I'm curious, is this mole working for other corners?
I mean, that ain't that ain't shit, because like look, and I'm sorry for cussing to demonetize your video, but look, half of these people that watch boxing don't even know what they're doing. So half of these guys that go to boxing gyms that say that they're boxers don't even know what they're doing. What do serial killers always do? They hide in plain sight. If you really want to have something that's secret, you disguise it as it's not secret. Anyone that thinks that the secretive boxing stuff is behind a door and it's secretive, the real secretive stuff is it's in plain sight. So what I'm saying and all that stuff to say is, I think they're just tongue fighting.
Mm-hmm.
They're using words to make fun statements, and fight fans go, "Oh man, they got a undercover agent there." Look, I could tell you that Joe Joyce is not going to really move his head. He's going to come forward. And if the left hand doesn't land, the right hand will. Did I have a spy in the camp? Right? I mean, I can tell you Tim Tszyu is going to come crazy hard at Brian Mendoza, and he's going to be looking to land something really heavy, and he's going to hit the body.
But you might
Do I
just
have
be
a
the
guy
mole.
in his camp? Yeah, do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, I do.
There's tape on these guys. I think that they're just talking because no one says Zhang's name because it's hard to pronounce, and he's just not getting big fights, and he's hella old, and they want to get a fight where he can retire. So they're saying wild stuff because it creates intrigue and interest. That's just how I feel.
Yeah. Speaking of old, Drew, is it time for Ugas to hang him up? This orbital bone fracture looked a hot mess. His eye isn't holding up. He looks like a shadow of himself. Plus the long ring activity, the long layoff.
You know what? Like, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, Keith Thurman is not one of the greatest fighters on the planet. When the fuck has he, the last time we put him in that category? When the fuck was the last time he's been one time? He's been last time since fucking getting his ass kicked by Manny Pacquiao and everything, man. Like, Keith Thurman is on that fucking decline that he's willing to fight Clarissa Shields in an exhibition, a woman.
And he'll probably get dropped in that fight.
He
Well,
probably will
no
get dropped, but
well-
I'll be honest. I can't. We can't put him in the category of being one of the greatest fighters on this planet because, tell you the truth,
But he had a good run, and then he completely destroyed it. Like he was the guy of his era, and then he didn't fight.
I didn't think he was the guy of his era. I think there were guys that are better than Keith Thurman. He was up there at that time when he was one time. But
I mean, he
guy,
beat Garcia and Sean Porter. Those were the guys after Floyd.
They were the guys.
But
But that's
here's the
exactly it. They were the guys. Let's talk about the new guys that are. Let's talk about Boots. Somebody in here Barrios is going to get fed the Boots. What about the likelihood of, well, you had a great performance. How would you like to fight Boots Ennis on Showtime?
Here's the thing. Keith Thurman got the nickname one time because he was a knockout artist. That's what he was known for when they were bringing him up. And then when he wasn't knocking motherfuckers out anymore, this is where Keith Thurman came. This is the Keith Thurman that says, hey, he can't knock you the fuck out or hurt you. He's clearly going to have a disputed decision or he's not going to win a decision. I'm going to be honest with you. Mario Barrios is at best a C level, maybe a B minus, C level plus level fighter. I'm sorry. Ugas, that fight should have been stopped in the 7th round. I don't know what the fuck that doctor was doing. And he didn't even fucking do the test. That, hey, tell me if you can see out that eye, Ugas. He didn't fucking do that shit. So I really want to know what made them not do that. And the thing about it is, man, this is probably the best Barrios is ever gonna look against an Asian fucking Ugas that
still a former world titleist. This is something that you absolutely need to have on your resume. He's
no threat to knock you out anymore. And I'll tell you this right now, this is a washed up Ugas. And now he is probably going to get fed the boots. Boots is going to annihilate Barrios.
Well, they're both at PBC. Let me ask Lukey this. Lukey, 3 Mexican-American fighters, and this fight should be getting a lot of attention that's upcoming. I'm talking about Giovanni Santillan, who used to fight on Thompson Boxing, got his opportunity to show himself on Top Rank, and Alexis Rocha. I think that's an incredible fight between 2 top contenders in the welterweight division. Where do those guys, how would you rate those 2 and Mario Barrios? 1 to 3. You still here there?
Who, me or Drew?
No, you, Lukey. Those are great Mexican-American fighters, and we're going to have Alexis Rocha fight Giovanni Santillan.
Man. I mean, it's tough because Alexis Rocha and Mario Barrios kind of need to fight each other for us to figure out who's better. But I think that those are 1A, 1B, and Santillan is probably 3rd right now. But when you have a great coach like Robert Garcia, you know, it really helps because Robert's really good. He's experienced. See, this is the thing about good coaches that people don't know. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of game. This is called Uncle Lukey's moment of game. Why do you want a good coach in your corner? Is it going to be because they teach you technical stuff? That's all right. But every coach everywhere can kind of teach you fundamental boxing. They can see an adjustment here and there. It's about the emotion of the moment. It's about they've been in these big fights and they recognize patterns and emotion that they've seen in these big fights. And they can talk to a fighter about the emotion in those moments. Because I think that personally, more people lose based on not understanding the emotion and the magnitude of the fight more than they lose because of technical skill. I think the older you get in boxing, you appreciate the fundamentals, but you start talking about when Charlo's in there, yeah, sure, you can throw a jab, he can back a guy up, but when you're standing in front of a cultural icon, Canelo, you got to speak to the emotion of that moment rather than just give him fundamental advice because his mind might be racing somewhere else. And I say all that to mix your head up in a blender and bring it all the way back and say, when you have Robert Garcia in a corner who's pulled off multiple upsets and does it for the love of the game, it's hard to even put Santillan at 3 before he fights Alexis Rocha. But my gut feeling is Alexis Rocha kind of has a little bit more than Santillan. But I mean, those guys they're all kind of in the same spot. Santillan just lacks that big win, so he's, because Mario Barrios beat Ugas, Rocha beat Blair. I guess you'd have to say Mario Barrios 1, Rocha 2, and Santillan 3 based off of wins.
I like that. Shout out to Chauncey Pearl.
What does the chat say?
The chat saying Chauncey Pro says Barrios showed out unlike anyone else on that entire card. And Tu Matador says Barrios has actually shown major improvement in his last 3 outings. Shout out to Bob Santos again from the 408. Now, I think he did a fantastic job with this guy this weekend. Go ahead, Drew, as we move on to the Canelo main event.
Man, I'll be honest, man. To the one comment, when I'm gonna give fighters prompts, you clearly don't watch the show every week, man. Go back and watch every show, man. I give fighters prompts. Please. Don't. That's just a stupid comment. That's just a stupid comment, and I gotta point it out, Chauncey. Come on, man. Watch the other shows, man. You clearly don't watch the show every fucking week. And number 2, man, I'm gonna be honest, man. Rocha and fucking Barrios both suck. I'm sorry, they both fucking suck.
You don't like Rocha?
I don't like Rocha, man. Like I really think Rocha.
He's pretty good, bro.
Rocha is really
He's pretty
Rocha's is very beatable, man. He got beat by Sheedy Ellis, man.
It might have been an off night.
And he got outboxed by him. I think his best win is against Buck Hops.
Like, that was a good win.
Listen,
Dave's active too, Drew.
If Terrence Crawford doesn't stay at 147 pounds, who's going to dominate this division, Lukey? Is it going to be Boots?
Boots and Cody Crowley.
All right, both guys are on Showtime PBC. Whatever happens to Showtime. Whatever happens to Showtime. All right, let's get on back to the on track onto the Canelo Jermell Charlo. What the fuck was the actual? I'm sorry, but what was the payday? What was the payday Jermell Charlo got? Because it must have been quite sizable for him to say, "I'm good. I don't need to really try here."
Man, fuck that he's good and everything, man. That's a disrespect to the sport of fucking boxing, man. Seriously. I'm fucking good and everything, man. Like, what a fucking
I just want to say,
yes,
it's a disrespect to anyone that works a job that gets paid probably less than they're worth and got excited and took time out of their day and waited all week through physical labor or monotonous tasks and went to this fight, bought a plane ticket, bought a hotel ticket, bought the pay-per-view to see this guy basically say, "Yeah, I'm rich now." I mean, at a time I get the disrespect to the sport of boxing, but the sport of boxing always disrespects itself. We always disrespect ourselves. But what I don't like is disrespecting the fans of boxing, because the fans of boxing so often get spit on. They don't get the fights they want. They get talked down to. They get treated awful, and they stick with it. They stick with our small market shows. They stick with our coverage. They stick with watching it because they friggin' love it like us. And it really bothers me that this somewhat unproven guy, right? If you look at his undisputed run, it's not one of the greatest undisputed runs. A somewhat unproven fighter had the nerve to basically say, "Yeah, I didn't respect the fans tonight. I signed up just to make money." That's what I heard.
And there was very good examples of Canelo of having faced even guys like Amir Khan moving up 2 weight classes, who I think arguably came in to win that fight early on and actually.
Golovkin.
Exactly. Those are good examples of guys moving up 2 weight classes who came to give it their best and actually attempt to win. We didn't see that this Saturday, and we shouldn't be surprised ultimately. And now all I can think about is Terrence Bud Crawford. That's what I'm thinking about, Drew. Is Canelo's power just too much? I mean, would Terrence Crawford fold the way when you saw Jermell Charlo take those early body shots? It was like, fuck. Okay, I didn't believe it was that he hits that hard, and now I know he hits that hard. Is that something that a much smaller Terrence Bud Crawford is good? Oh, thanks a lot, hey Lukey. Shout out to Lukey. Make sure you guys subscribe to Lukey Boxing. Check out his awesome book, but his call was terminated. So, but Drew, honestly, now I'm thinking, man, it's Terrence Bud Crawford. He's making a very good case. Even Steven Espinoza is entertaining it, and Canelo said that it's not right, that it's not. He's kind of being mushy mouth about it. But if Terrence Crawford is willing to move up all that much in weight and people demand of it, should he give Terrence Crawford more thought as an opponent?
No. And I think people need to stop with the fantasy matchups and everything, man. We need fucking legacy fights, man. Fuck this fucking chat, like people moving up 3 weight divisions and everything, man. Seriously, like I'm not even entertained with the fucking Charlo fucking Crawford fight because Crawford fucking smashes him. And I don't give a fuck any. Like, I'm gonna be honest with people, man. Like, come on. What the fuck do we have to look forward to now? This motherfucker not only shit the bed, but he shit the bed of all potential fights involving him. That could have been fucking something good. I don't give a fuck and everything, man. Like, but I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with everybody. If my comments make you butthurt or something, man, look at my face when I say this. I don't give a flying fuck if you get butthurt at what I fucking said. You don't like it? Kiss my fucking ass and have a good fucking day and everything. I speak on my mind, like Tony Boswell says, respect to him. I speak my fucking mind. And if you don't like what I say, if you don't like when I speak my fucking mind or be fake, let me tell you guys something. If I couldn't speak my fucking mind week after week on here, or keep it 100, or just be me on 100, I might as well turn this fucking mic off, this fucking camera off, and never come the fuck on here again. But no, I'm gonna speak my fucking mind. And because I owe it to Dave, and I owe it to the fucking real ones in this chat. Now, someone gonna bitch about, oh, Drew, you don't show nobody no prompts and everything. You shouldn't give a fuck about who I show prompts to, who I don't show prompts to. At least you show prompts to your own fucking fighters that you like and everything. This is what you need. You need fucking people keeping it 100 week after fucking week. Lay it down in no fucking opinions, because everybody has their own fucking opinion how they view fucking fights and how they view sports, like fucking boxing, like football, basketball. You have your favorite fucking teams, you have your favorite fucking boxers and everything, and people want to get butthurt because you tell them that you don't give a flying fuck about what they say, how they feel about it and everything. Oh, Drew, you don't show boxers fucking pops. You clearly don't watch the show every fucking week. Go back and watch the fucking shows and everything. You see I get fucking boxers prompts and everything. Like fucking Jesus Ramos gets prompts from me. Like I thought it was a dominating performance by Canelo. That's giving prompts. Isn't that giving prompts, Dave?
Yeah, and Drew early on the shoe shine was people accused him of being a Canelo hater. We're not hating on anybody, man. Guys, and I appreciate everyone in this audience here. But I'm feeling like you're going to be mad at me. I think you're going to be mad at me that I secretly want to see Canelo fight Terrence Bud Crawford. I am a huge fan of Terrence Bud Crawford.
That's your opinion, Dave.
But not necessarily next. Not necessarily next. I just don't know how much longer that Terrence Bud Crawford could fight at this insane elite level, because he is the older fighter, Drew. He is the older fighter. So I'm not even mad that he is making this case saying, I need to fight you. Fuck David Benavidez. Fuck the Bubu Andrade. Forget about David Morrell potentially, which Canelo has no desire to fight David Morrell, but he's making his case, and I'm selfish. I want to see it sooner than later. But I will say that there is no bigger fight in Las Vegas May 5th than David Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez. That's if David Benavidez gets past Bubu Andrade, which is not, a foregone conclusion. We don't know what's going to happen in that fight. But there is no bigger fight this May 5th. We got somebody calling right now. Let's see what they want to say. They want to chime in on the shoe shine.
Like, all I'm saying is, like, people are going to say, Combs, I'm going to call you the fuck out. I'm not getting hype. I'm calling you the fuck out because that's how I am. And that's how I'm going to keep it a beam with you. If you don't like what I say, oh fucking well. That's at the end of the fucking day.
All right,
I listen to other people's opinions, and they don't fucking. If I don't like their opinion, I don't give a fuck. That's their fucking opinion.
All right, Drew's blood pressure's got to come down. The 510, you were on the shoe shine.
That's right, Drew. Fuck them putos, man. Hell yeah, Drew. I got you back, homie.
What's up,
Dave? What's up, Drew?
What's up, Nando? First of all, did you pay the $89? Did you pay this small fortune to watch this fight?
Dude, you know what? Dude, I don't regret it. I mean, the main event was disappointing just because of Jermell, but it was my Saturday night. It's only $85, dude. That's why I have fun, and I don't regret it, dude. There was four decent fights, and it is what it is. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. That's with football or basketball, any other sport, man. Not every game is the greatest thing in the world,
Did you expect more for Jermell? Did you truly expect him to do better?
Yeah, I did. honestly, dude, I was hoping he would come out like fast and furious at the beginning of the fight because I didn't think he had a chance if it went 12 rounds. I thought he was going to come out and, go toe to toe for at least,
For real.
go out like a champ, man.
For
Go
real.
for it,
My
But he
wife
didn't.
watches boxing with me every big fight. My wife watches all. She's a fan of the Charlo brothers. She said he's definitely going to come to perform. I mean, look how he's rebounded and made adjustments in his losses or fights where people thought it did not deserve a draw. The Castaño fight, how he handled it in the rematch, how he handled the Harrison rematch. You would think that was the guy that was going to show up to fight, but that's not what we got at all. He made no attempt to to capitalize like other fighters have and take an early lead. We didn't see any of that. So to me, it was a disappointment from the get, unfortunately. But that being said, Nando, what's your opinion now? Canelo had a beautiful speech afterwards, and I thought he made a great speech, despite the fact I didn't like his. Now I'm an old man, bro. I didn't like the band he brought in with him, man. That ring walk, and I know I'm gonna get shit for that on Twitter, but I wasn't feeling that bad.
Fucking ring walk.
I wasn't feeling that bad. Where does he go from
Dave,
here, Canelo?
Dave, I'm probably a little bit older than you, Dave, and I didn't mind it, dude. You got to bring the younger generation to boxing.
He did.
It's
He
what it
did.
is, man.
That's exactly
Can't bother
it. He did. He was bringing the younger Mexican audience, getting them on board, and it's a smart tactical move. He did already the Pepe Aguilar big show in Texas, which I think was the best ring walk entrance. But from here, man, at PBC, he looked fantastic training to me. Using Lake Tahoe as his base, I think he looks rejuvenated, and now he's ready for somebody to actually give him a real challenge. And I guess the majority of folks feel that David Benavidez is the only guy to give him a real challenge in this division. So what do you say?
I wouldn't have a problem with the Benavidez fight for Cinco de Mayo, but I kind of worry, dude, with just all the PBC guys, man. They're all going to act the same, dude. The Benavidez is going to show up just for a paycheck, man. That really is in the back of my mind with all those guys, man. And for that reason, dude, I kind of would prefer a Bud fight for a couple reasons. Like one, I think Bud doesn't lay down for anybody. He's a strong dude. And Canelo's kind of like a skulky, man. He can fight a lot of people from different weight classes because he's not a big dude. I mean, yeah, he's a 168-pounder, but he's not a typical 168-pounder. Kind of what you say about Loma, right? He's not a big lightweight. Well, Canelo's not a big super middleweight. He's not even a big middleweight. So it's not that big of a physical difference, And the second reason I think Canelo might want to prefer Bud is I think Canelo wants to be number one pound for pound again. And I think the quickest way to get back there is to beat Bud, not to beat Benavidez. Benavidez is going to be kind of like, people expect him to beat Benavidez, right? But Bud, you're being basically the guy who took your title, right? The guy who took your number one pound for pound is Crawford. Maybe anyway. But realistically, for him to fight, it's Crawford.
Drew, what's going to happen with the Spence rematch? Is that going to get in the way of the Canelo, the potential for a Canelo to fight Bud?
I want to say something. To Nando's comment that, he might shit the bed to Benavidez. Tell you the truth, let's have that fight. And if he does, these Benavidez fanboys can fucking shut the fuck up finally.
He got fanboys?
These fucking dick riders and everything.
Benavidez does?
Yeah. Like there's some people that fucking dick riding hard for Benavidez and everything, man. And you watch him be like that and everything against Canelo, do the same fucking shit and everything.
Listen, Drew. I said it on that live. Those of you that joined me live on Wednesday at the MGM, when David Benavidez had the Caleb Plant pay-per-view, there was nowhere to walk anywhere around that ring. It was shoulder to shoulder. It was literally a ghost town this past Wednesday. And that worried me tremendously. I'm like, okay, maybe the MGM hack has gotten people nervous and they're not going to fly to Vegas. Maybe they're avoiding the casino. But it was a totally different vibe. So if you're saying there's some dick riders for David Benavidez, I'll admit he's got a good fan base growing in the city of Las Vegas. He absolutely does. That's why I think realistically, Cinco de Mayo 2024, there is no bigger fight than David Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez at the moment, at this current moment. Nando, do you agree?
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
No, Dave, but check it out, dude. To the casuals, right? Like, for us, we'll take either one, or we'll take Benavidez or Crawford. We'll be happy. And maybe even lean towards Benavidez. But for the casuals, the people that are going to be buying this fight on pay-per-view, making it a big fight, it's got to be Crawford, dude. Crawford's coming off the biggest win of his life. You know, everybody saw it. You know, it made all the headlines, right? Him killing Spence. I mean, the money right now for Canelo is in the Bud Crawford fight, more so than with Benavidez. Benavidez and Canelo basically have the same fan base, dude. It's overlapping. If you bring Crawford into the business, you got a different group of people that are going to be buying that fight. You know, not just Mexicans or Latinos. You're going to bring in the black crowd also to buy some of the fight too, man. You know, and the casuals.
I see.
That's why I just think Crawford versus Canelo is the fight.
I see our boy Ryan saying, I have a feeling the Crawford Spence 2 fight isn't going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, if you guys looked at it, the contract rate for the rematch is 147. And
which he had a fucking awful time making. Spence just barely made it.
And Terence Crawford said, if he has it in writing that I can no longer make 147, then they will switch it to maybe a catch rate or 154. But I think it will more likely be a catch rate fight, maybe 150 or 151 and everything. Which I believe it's fair. If you can't make 147, we do a catch rate and everything. Because tell you the truth, it likely Spence is not going to be able to make 147 anymore. Or he's going to try to refuse to make 147. Say, oh, we made it at 154. That was no. It's 147 and everything. The winner picks the weight. I was told the winner picks the weight of the fight. And Terence Crawford said if he was to win the fight, it would be at 147 the rematch. Fight's at 147. Unless he says in writing, I can no longer make 147, then you compromise at a catch rate and everything. Which I believe is fair because it's not the first catch rate fight we had. There's people that made a master of having catch rate fights and everything. The Zotto fucking Joe Smith fight is a catch rate fight and everything. So I don't think the fight's going to happen. I think there's no money. There's no money in it, even though that's Spencer's biggest payday because it's what else does he have? But I don't think that fight is going to make the money that they think it's going to make because Terence Crawford beat him. It was so one-sided.
That shit wouldn't even sell on paper. That might as well be on free TV. That might as well be on free TV. Tony Boswell says Spence Jr. is damaged goods, in my opinion. I happen to agree with you, and I believe that Ugas is damaged goods at this point. And both of those fighters, after the shellacking that they took in the ring, they should probably consider, hanging them up for their own personal future health reasons. So, man, I'm confused, guys. I'm torn, man. Definitely, if you guys can, please leave us a comment. It's going to help the algorithm. You guys have shown us a lot of love tonight with 34 likes. If you haven't already, hit that like. If you have a burner account, fuck it. Drop us a like on the burner account. Leave us a comment. I'm torn. I want to see David Benavidez fight Canelo Alvarez. I want to see Canelo take on all the best fighters at 168 while he still is the undisputed champion. And that includes David Morrell. Mad Dog said something great. He says, I don't think that it makes sense to be David Benavidez next because then it would force him to potentially have a rematch at number 3. I would love to see Canelo fight David Morrell and David Benavidez in this 3-fight deal, but that seems like a long shot.
I'm going to be honest. David Morrell beats Canelo Alvarez. And I think that it would be smart to have Benavidez as the second fight because I believe he beats David Benavidez. And I think he beats him easy. And that's not hating on
Canelo, even though people used to accuse you of being the number one
Thank
Canelo hater.
Thank you.
But I just don't know, Drew. I just don't know. Honestly, I think there's going to come a point at the tail end of Canelo's career where he's going to call the shots. He can come up with catch weights like Floyd did. He could say, sure, I'll fight you now. Terence Bud Crawford, how does, 165 sound? Or maybe Canelo goes the other route and says, you know what? Dimitri Bivol this weekend I was tweeting, if Dimitri Bivol wants to make himself another big name, he could fucking move up to 100. And excuse my dirty language today. He could move up to cruiserweight and fight Opatai. He could do that. Canelo moved up in weight. Yeah. He could move up to cruiserweight if he wants a real challenge and make a big name for himself. Maybe we'll see the 175-pound division open up for Canelo after this PBC deal. I know there's a lot of people right here that would love to see Better Biev against Canelo.
But I'm going to tell you this right now. The second fight is going to be against the other Charlo. And tell you the truth,
there it is.
That kills it.
And David, so Mad Dog is right. So Benavidez,
he's doing the same fucking shit.
You'll get Jermell Charlo potentially May 5th, Jermall Charlo, right? And then you get David Benavidez on Mexican Independence Day of 2024, and that's the end of the PBC deal. Canelo goes on to fight Terrence Bud Crawford in like a phony, who knows what type weight class exhibition match, perhaps at the end of 2024, maybe 2025 if Terrence Crawford still wants it. And maybe we'll see the end of Canelo's career at light heavyweight, picking up the belt again. He already had a belt at 175.
You know what? If we get a Jermall Charlo fight next, he's doing the same shit as his brother because he don't give a fuck about legacy. This dude's a mental case, and he says, hey, my brother got away with it. I'm going to get away with it too. And that's going to kill all momentum. No one's going to give a flying fuck about this 3-fight deal anymore. The Charlos staked the bed and everything. Like, I don't think Charlo will be respected again as being a top fighter, as being a fighter that's pound for pound and everything. I thought that shit, that's not a pound for pound fighter right there. That's a guy that's ready to leave and everything. Because it's payday. I think, like, why would you go back down to 154? At least go back down to 160. But why would you go back down to 154? You're not beating these guys now because you're coming back down. But if you didn't move up, you would have beat Tim Tszyu. Now you don't beat him. You're going down too much weight to fight Tim Tszyu. You're going to get your ass kicked. Terrence Crawford destroys you. I just don't see it. And I think people need to realize this is the end of Jermell Charlo as we speak.
It could very well be. I'm curious what the chat thinks. Drop a comment when we're done with the show. What happens to Jermell Charlo? Does he move down to 154? He's chasing a big fight against Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence has no interest in that. If he does hold those, if he still has those 3 titles, shit, I'm not opposed to it. But guys, you guys in the chat are reminding me how excited I am. Early on this year, people anticipated this would be one of the best years of boxing. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Drew, it might play out to be that way in the month of November. We've got some great fights in the month of November. Then we round out December with Devin Haney fighting Prograis in my very own backyard, my hometown of San Francisco. And you have the potential for the Usyk fight. Then we got the great news. Let's move on to the news real quick, guys. Ryan Garcia is fighting. You guys, I told you this at the beginning of the show. Ryan Garcia is fighting Duarte from Mexico. If you have not watched Duarte, the great thing about it is he's fought on DAZN and you can watch all his recent fights. He is a very heavy-hitting lightweight contender. He really is. This is a guy that could go toe-to-toe with Ryan and potentially derail his big dreams. I think this was not a smart move. They see something in Duarte that they think they can take advantage of. I don't. Sin City Syndicate says who? Yeah, he's a prospect contender that fights out of Mexico. And he's done very well for himself on DAZN, fighting guys on the fringe, top 20. He's very dangerous. He's a very dangerous fighter. And this is the kind of guy from Mexico that could completely derail Ryan Garcia and give him a second loss. Guys, go watch the tape on him. Honestly, I was shocked this morning when they picked him. So we get him December the 2nd. We get Devin Haney December the 9th. By the way, Ryan Garcia, I just found out again today that nobody has done better numbers than Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis in 2024. They still hold the crown of the most pay-per-view sales this year. Let him cook, Drew. Usyk versus Tyson Fury. They say it's official. The date will not be announced until after the Ngannou fight. Are you just as happy as I am? Because, man, I was on a different channel that last week saying, bashing on Tyson Fury for going with Ngannou, the MMA fighter, and saying that I hope that he comes to his senses in 2024 and signs his deal. And lo and behold, all in the same week. All in the same week, they finally catch Tupac Shakur's killer. We get Tyson Fury versus Usyk.
I think it's going to be a good fight. I think that it's going to be a chess match. I think Fury does win this an 8-4 type of fight. I think he pulls away in the fight, but I believe that it's going to be a good fight. And, you know, some people say it's going to be one-sided. I'm like, no, it's not going to be a one-sided fight in my eyes. I just can't see it being a one-sided fight. I think I said the only person that can beat Alexander Usyk is Tyson Fury. So it's like the only person that can beat Tyson Fury is Alexander Usyk. I think these are the two best. I think some people are going ahead of themselves and picking Zhang as number 2, but I think he beat a guy that did not move around.
Let's be real. When they fight, Usyk and Tyson Fury finally fight, that winner is going to get another tremendous, humongous payday. Saudi Arabia is going to host this fight. They're going to have the potential. They're going to have the potential to bring a super fight that no one has ever seen in Macau, China, which is dwarfs Las Vegas as far as casino action. They could potentially be the biggest heavyweight fight. Well, this is the biggest heavyweight fight, but it could be another mega super fight for the winner of Usyk and Tyson Fury to fight Zhilei Zhang in Macau, China, an international
but you know
fight.
What? You know what, Dave? I think this is going to be both of their last fights. I think they both retired after this.
Maybe Fury would, but that guy's probably working on his next season of his.
Because if you look at it like this fight right here is for the best heavyweight of his era. This is what this fight is for. It's for undisputed, but it's also for the best heavyweight of his era. And be honest, there's nothing really more for neither one of these guys to accomplish after this fight. Win or lose, in my opinion. Like, the winner of this fight is going to retire undefeated and undisputed, while the other guy is going to retire with a loss and a former heavyweight champion, and he lost and only has one loss on his record, and that's to the best fighter of his era, and he can be the number 2 fighter of his heavyweight of his era. So, end of the day, there's a lot at stake. I think these other heavyweights need to just wait, because guys are going to get your turn at these belts because they're going to be vacated after this fight. I'm telling you.
That brings us to the very end of the show, guys. This Saturday night, I am going back to the fights. Why I didn't go to the Canelo fight, guys, I'm going to be real. I told my homies on another channel, yeah, I got some disposable income, but I'm not going to lay down $800 for nosebleeds to see Canelo fight. I've seen him fight plenty. I've seen him fight Gennady Golovkin. I've seen him fight Floyd Mayweather. And this smelled, it smelled mismatch all over it. This fight is intriguing. This is a crossroads fight. At the Cosmopolitan, my favorite place to watch fights in Las Vegas. Joe Smith, the former light heavyweight champion. Zurdo Ramirez, the former 168-pound champion who can barely even make light heavyweight. I mentioned it earlier. He didn't make weight to fight Gabe Rosado recently. These guys are going to fight an agreed-upon 190 pounds, which is also what Jake Paul is asking people to fight him at. Interesting. Jake Paul fights at 190. Of course, at cruiserweight, we just saw the Samoan champion from Australia that I really enjoy. We talked about him early. What's his name? Opatai, if I'm saying it correct. Drew, this is a crossroads fight because, quite honestly, we're going to find out if it's a weight issue for Ramirez or if he's just a shot fighter, who was just basically a weight bully. Can he do something at cruiserweight? Can he actually perform at this level? Can Joe Smith bring his power up to that heavy of a weight class? Could Joe Smith be a cruiserweight?
I'll be honest. I think Joe Smith Jr. wins this fight.
So you're thinking Ramirez is washed up?
Yeah, I think Joe Smith beats him. And here's the thing. Joe Smith has a punch output, and he's a pressure guy, but he has a punch output that's going to make Zotto punch output neutralized.
But
He's going to
yeah.
neutralize Soto's punch output because he needs guys at a distance. But I think Joe will be able to get inside with that pressure and make it very hard for Soto to generate and create an offense in this fight. I'm picking Joe Smith by decision. I really think this is like an 8-4 fight in favor of Joe Smith. I just don't think that the arsenal of Soto is going to be there because Joe Smith is going to get inside and make it into a smuggling fest that he's not going to be able to use his reach and everything. And that's what I think that was the issue with him and Bivol. But Bivol was able to box him and make it more difficult to generate an offense that can hit Bivol because he clearly couldn't hit Bivol. He kept on getting hit and countered that whole fight. This fight, he's going to be in his face and he's not going to be able to use those long arms and everything. And even if he does go and get shots in the phone booth,
I hope it's a phone. I'm hoping it's a phone booth fight. By the way,
the powers of Soto's shots are not going to be powerful enough.
Well, he seemed to have nothing. By the way, guys, these guys both have a common opponent in Dimitri Bivol. One in which Joe Smith, in his performance against Dimitri Bivol, almost laid him out, almost knocked out Dimitri Bivol. Whereas, Ramirez basically looked even worse than Jermell Charlo this past weekend. It all goes down this Saturday at the Cosmopolitan. I'm super excited. It's my birthday week. By the way, shout out to Lukey Boxing earlier. I believe it's his birthday week. There's boxing on Wednesday. He said he'd be covering it for Pro Box on YouTube, which you could watch here. Drew's got a birthday coming up, and I have a birthday coming up. So shout out to all the Libras out there. This is a hard fight for me to pick Drew. Nando said he has $10 if you want to take him on that bet. He's got Ramirez winning if you want to take him on that $10. And Sin City Syndicate says, screw that, I've got $500.
I'll have a bet on the in the sports book than with Nando because I'll make more money. To be honest, so.
Can we get 2 more likes? If you haven't, I appreciate everybody to hit the like. 40 likes would have been great. I see a lot of people in here. Ruli Ramundo, thank you for joining. Love Light, my boy Packable, Nerd, everybody that participated in today's conversation. I'm going to be back next Monday. We'll be talking about the Joe Smith fight. But if you enjoyed Drew and I's banter, we got a football show. We're coming back with that football show to talk about Week 4 in the NFL. Eagles and the Niners, Drew, I'm already calling it, man. We are going to see you guys again in the NFC playoffs. That's the way it looks. Tell me otherwise, chat.
You know what? NFC title game is too close to call right now. I really think that it's not going to be the Cowboys. It's going to be the Eagles in the NFC title game because they're not playing at their best, but they're always finding ways to win. Yeah.
So like I said, we'll be here Wednesday. If you guys want to hear more of that football banter, I think Thursday Drew and I might be over at the Urban AZ on YouTube channel talking sports. I think we might be doing that. Thursday I'll be on the round table at Joe Habib Ringside Reporter on Thursday. I got a full week and then the fight Saturday. Friday, our comedy show. Oh man, I'm busy all week, man. So I appreciate everybody that came in here to support and show some love. Shout out to my boy Roy on YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe to Roy. Make sure you subscribe to Mom Food Bay Area. That being said, Chauncey too. Bang Bang, Niner Gang. Everybody that was in here today participating. Appreciate you all. Drew and I will see you guys next Monday. And if you guys want to chime in and hop in on Wednesday, we'll be here around 7:30 for our football show, Week 4, where we just talk football straight up. Drew, any final words?
Yeah, guys, don't get emotional.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Peace out, everybody. Appreciate y'all.